Shweta, we are starting.
Hello. Hello everyone. Am I audible? So, a very warm welcome, and I wish you a great and successful new financial year today. Since we are moving towards new financial year 22-23, so wish you a lot of money success. With this, let's start our today's session. Before let us rise for ICI motto.
यशः सुप्तेषु जाग्रति यशः सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदुनात्यधिकजनात्यधिकश एतद्वैता
So, our today's discussion, I would say the CFO forum is exclusively designed for all the CFOs who are there in industry. And, the idea to keep this forum is that as a CFO, we generally face multiple challenges when we part of multiple organizations at the time of various decision making. So the idea is to how to deal with digitization and automation when what type of challenges we face, and let us learn from our today's eminent speakers that what type of challenges they have faced and what are the probable solution and what is their perspective in terms of facing digitization and automation in a particular industry and their organization. So without taking much of time, I would say that in modern CFO, earlier our role is to be bean counter, and now the role has been changed to bean grower. So a lot more expected from modern CFO today, including that our expectation from a CFO is to thrive value and thrive all type of digitization and automation in their industry, because ultimately the CFOs are the one who are taking participation in strategy in today's world. So with these words, quickly I'll move to Mr. Murtaza Kachwala, Chairman WIRC, for their opening remark and welcome address. To you, sir.
Thank you, Gautam. A warm good evening to all. I welcome everyone today to this program. Let me first thank Chairman of Committee of Members Industry, CA Gautam Lat, and Vice Chairman, CA Pinky Kenia, for organizing this program today in physical form. I also have with me Secretary WIRC, Shweta Jain, Vikasa Chairman, Ketan Sayya, and elected Regional Council members, Ankit Rathi, Saurav Ajmera was there, Sanjay Nikam, and Rudesh Pankhania. Let me first thank today's first speaker, CA Amit Agarwal. Amit, thank you for accepting our invitation. Let me also thank the moderator, Hemant Dabke. Hemant, thank you for joining us today. And all the three panelists, CA Parthasarathy from Nayara Energy, CA Jignesh Kenya from Times Group, and CA Ashish from EarlySalary. I thank all of you for joining us. Friends, a little background, I'll go a little into the history. So like last year, somewhere when I was the chairman of members industry committee, and with a single thought that like how can we bring the industry member nearer, we started to tell our office to organize some virtual meetings with a lot of CFOs, CEOs, tax sets, and we met about 110 people. One of them was Jignesh as well, and we got a lot of inputs. And from those inputs, we decided we should start something called a CFO Forum, which we did not have. And we like sent out a Google form where about 380 entries were received. From those, we tried to eliminate all the practicing chartered accountant consultants, and we had about still 245 people who were real CFOs or finance controller. And we brought them into a WhatsApp group, and we started the WhatsApp group. And then we also started doing virtual meetings on fourth Friday of every month, 5:30 to 7, where like all the CFOs used to come, and we had about 50 to 70 people attending the virtual format. And the first month we had the new labor code, then we had subsidies and benefits, backward area benefits, then we had CSR. So like we used to have two speakers, one who is a consultant or a practitioner, he will come and talk about the act, rule, regulation, whatever it is. And the second guy from industry who is implemented. And then we used to open the forum for people to ask questions and others to answer. Since COVID is opening up and since the Maharashtra government also announced that starting tomorrow, 2nd of April, on the Gudi Padwa day, no mask, no nothing, we thought let us try and do a physical format. I think we took a little daring step of the chairman and the vice chairman said, let us do a daring step and call people formally here physically, and we decided to do that. And we had almost 140 entries. And we were speaking regularly and a lot of people had confirmed. So we thought at the last count, we'll have at least 80. And let me tell you, you all scared me. At 5 minutes to 6, there were only 5 or 6 people on the ground floor. And I was really worried. I was sick, scared. I apologized to all the panelists at least 4 times in the room. And then I said, okay, let us move everything from the auditorium to this boardroom. And now I think people are going to come and stand. But no problem. We'll listen to Amit peacefully. And then if we need to move the panel discussion down, we'll be immediately, I think we'll be fast. We can quickly do it. And you can pick up a cup of tea and we can move it down back if there are a lot more people join us. So we'll try to accommodate still chairs as many as possible. I'm sure 15 more people can accommodate inside. And the panel discussion can be moved down if everything goes well. So now let me not take much time, but I'll only, since we got an opportunity, so let me tell you about what we are planning at WIRC this year. All the 21 council members, really enthused, aggressive, and many of them are first timer and eager to work and serve the membership and the student. And this year the theme is lead. Lead towards excellence, achievement and development. And to achieve overall development of the fraternity, and we have identified 5 goals. The first goal is how do we empower our membership with newer areas of practices and service line. See, there is a lot of specialization which is happening in our profession. And at WIRC, we got something called as a direct tax refresher course. Many of you would have heard about it as a signature event. 1,000, 2,000 people come and attend. We said, why not an indirect tax refresher, an international tax refresher, an internal refresher, an insolvency, bankruptcy, maybe a valuation refresher. So this year we are planning at least 10 to 12 refresher courses. This will be a longer duration, 20 to 30 hours thing, spread over 3 or 4 weeks. And we'll try to bring in speakers who can come and practically talk things. Like today, they all implemented technology big way, data analytics, RPA, they will be able to share real life experiences. So we want to get people from industry and big firms who can really share their experiences. So that is one, so that members can then choose where they want to go and practice their career options. The number 2 is like technologically, how can we upgrade our members? And there, like we are even trying to create some small utilities or tool which can be made to the membership available free of cost. We are trying to identify softwares which can be used by the members and trying to bargain and agree on a rate, which will be a very, very concessional rate. And in fact, today I was having a discussion. If you want to issue any type of digital certificate in your organization, if there is a like Achiever Award XYZ, so instead of printing those and giving the certificate, digital certificates, we moved at WRC last year. And the guy has agreed for like a 100 rupees certificate is at 80% discount to our members. So for 20 rupees, you can get a certificate which is digitally signed and which can be issued to the participants or whatever who wins something. So I'm saying those are type of things which we'll go to trying to tie up and get as many as possible. That we'll try to do. And the third is at WIRC, we started a course. Part one of the IT course is Python and SQL, how to do analytics. And it is a 60 hours, Friday evening 6 to 8, Saturday evening 6 to 8, Sunday morning 10 to 1. At home, on your computer, on your laptop, virtually you can attend. 9,000 rupees is the fees. And we done 4 batches of 30 each successfully. Very happy participants. Similarly, the part 2 is Power BI and Tableau, 25 hours. We had 2 batches of 25 each, 40 hours, 5,000 rupees. Power BI, Tableau. And we are now working on the part 3, which is the RPA and automation and digitalization. And we got an agency who's done the part 1, part 2, so maybe they will only do the part 3 as well. So a lot of IT courses, but again, we are doing small bits also. Last week, 4 days, we had fusion of Tableau and Excel for members. So like we can do anything. So those are type of things which we are working on. And of course, for students also, there are a lot of action which we are working on. But at the same time, we are also trying to do one more bridge. And the last point, and I'll stop in a minute. So like we have developed a platform where women who take off from work because of family reason, now before taking that maternity break or whatever, they would have worked in international tax or internal audit or whatever for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, they would have experience. And there are mid-sized firms who cannot afford to hire a person with that skill set full time. So here is a platform where all those CS can register and the firms can also register. And the firm is looking for something to outsource, like say a valuation guy somewhere sitting in Pune. They can put a message, the message will go to that person on the mobile, but that person's mobile number and email ID will not be shared with the firm. The person can reach out to the firm's partner, talk to them, they both agree, and then they share the assignment. So now here we are going to extend this platform to firms who want to outsource work and firms who want to take the work across the length and breadth of the region and across the country. That is number one. We are also seeing if organizations who want to hire a skill set and people who are looking for a job. So there will be all of these multiple things which we will try to bring on one platform. So that is one more thought, and we thought like we'll try to become a bridge. So a lot of things happening, but my request to all of you is anything that you want, you feel should be done to empower the members and students, please write your suggestions to us at wrc@ici.in, or you can send WhatsApp to any one of us and we'll try to implement whatever is possible. So thank you very much for that, and over to Gautam again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. So now I request CA Shweta Jain to introduce our today's speaker.
Thank you, Gautam. So, Amit Agarwal, sir, he's a chartered accountant from 2003 batch and he started his career with Sterlite Industries, which is Vedanta Resources, in their plant at Bharat Aluminium Company as factory finance and then FP&A. So with Hindustan Unilever for last 15 years now, he's playing multiple roles across partnering and stewardship and expertise as head finance and IT, modern foods, regional category finance manager, refreshments, group financial accountant, Unilever, senior finance manager, beauty and personal care, group finance controller, global share services, and chief audit executive, general manager, internal audit, Hindustan Unilever Limited. With these words, I welcome at WRC. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation.
Now I request Chairman sir to present a memento to our today's speaker. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible? Yes, great. Yeah. So first of all, thanks a lot for having me over here. Yeah. And when I was driving back from office, I was thinking that how I'm going to start the conversation. Yeah. And one of the things which I sort of was very clear that I'll say very different. Yeah. So once again, thanks a lot. It takes a lot of efforts to put these kind of actions which you spoke about. I never imagined that ICAI Council will be running digital initiatives and sort of educating members. So really, really proud of that. Yeah. So much appreciated. Yeah. So I think so. Thanks once again the council members. Thanks my fellow esteemed colleagues. So really looking forward to this conversation. So Shweta was kind enough to sort of give my introduction. So maybe I'll sort of straight away move to the CFO forum and the theme which has been picked up over here. Yeah. So I think first let's maybe spend a couple of minutes on the role of CFO. Yeah. In the world which we are currently operating in, the world of the role of CFO is going to change significantly. Yeah. It is not going to be the traditional CFO role which at least I have seen, and I'm sure some of you would have seen. Yeah. Uh, the environment is sort of changing significantly. Currently, the CFO is expected to run the transformational projects in the organization. They are supposed to steer the organization. They are supposed to drive growth. They are supposed to build a culture of awareness and innovation in the organization. They are supposed to build capabilities for the future. So no longer it is going to be an accounting, taxation, reporting, auditing kind of role, and different organizations will follow a maturity curve, right? So some organization might be little aware ahead, some organizations might be little behind. Yeah. But that is going to, sorry, am I not audible? You want me to increase my tone? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So different organizations are at different maturity level. The topic which has been picked up today is an absolutely appropriate topic. Yeah. This is very close to my heart as well, and in different roles, I have seen this area sort of really panning out, particularly in my last role as shared services head of finance controller, because probably that is one place in the shared services where automation and digitization really take a peak. Yeah. So if I just, I'll be using some slides. So if I were to sort of really talk about automation and digitization with this group few years back, yeah, what are some of the things which I would have really spoken about? I would have spoken about things like RPA. I would have spoken things about, that the payable process have been made efficient. I would have spoken about things like we have been able to rationalize our FTE. We are getting far more granular data. We are able to reduce cost. We are able to do auditing with better samples. So this is the theme which probably I would have spoken with you maybe 4, 5, 6 years back. Yeah. I'm not saying that these are not part of digitization and automation. Yeah. But world is moving at a much faster pace. Yeah. So these are avenues of digitization and automation, but what is looking up to us is far more different. Yeah. So what is really happening? Yeah. Let's reflect on the business which we are operating in. Yeah. It is very, very different. Yeah. It is very complex. It is getting disrupted on a daily basis. The channels are changing. The consumer habits are changing. Digitization is happening in a very different way. The world is sort of really moving towards ESG. 3 years down the lane, 3 years back, 4 years back, you would not have heard of ESG, right? But now ESG is a way of life, yeah. We have new competitors who are sort of coming into the market on a daily basis. We have the new talent profile, these multi-generation team who are sort of becoming part of our work culture, yeah. So this is one thought which I want to leave with you, that the world in which we are operating is very, very different, yeah. If I then talk about technologies, yeah, the technologies of future, the term which we had only heard about, they are now available to us, yeah. And we have seen use cases of these technologies. So it's not like they are in the air. We have seen enough use cases where people are using AI, blockchain, and cloud for moving their organization to a very different level, yeah. So that's the second theme which I want to leave with you. And then if I really come to the role of a CFO, yeah, you know, when you talk with different people will explain the role of CFO in a different way. I look at it in a very simple way. The role of CFOs are only two things. One is really partnering the business, yeah. When the business wins, then only the CFO or the finance function wins, yeah. There is no other way, yeah. And the impact which the CFO has to make is really driving the top line and the bottom line of the organization. If I really talk about the second part of the CFO role, this is really around the functional capabilities. You know, how do you really drive stewardship? How do you really drive analytics? How do you really ensure that the controls are of top notch? Yeah. So very straightforward. At least that's how I look at the role of CFO. Yeah. So if I then really try to pivot all of these three themes, yeah, the changing business landscape, the increasing technology opportunities which are live, and then really finance to redefine the role of the new decade. If I try to add these three things, the digitization and automation example, which I started my screen with, might not be fit for purpose, yeah, at least for future, yeah. So I am putting bit of a provocative thought, but I am doing that intentionally. Those were fit for future in past, but 5 years down the lane, if we are operating in this kind of environment, they will become not redundant, but we might be left behind, yeah. So, and hence, I always say that finance really focus on digital transformation. Digital transformation is a far broader theme as compared to standalone automation, RPA, and things like that. Digital transformation is really looking at end-to-end processes of an organization and driving value out of there, yeah. And hence, I think the theme which I am going to really talk about with all of you is how do we really drive value through digital transformation, yeah. I really want you to take this term value, because that's what as CFO we really stand for, yeah. And how do we really then drive value through the organization? I see there are either 4 routes or 4 enablers, yeah. So first you drive value through growth, yeah. When you sort of really pivot your function through digital intervention and the organization sort of start growing disproportionately. So that's first route. The second is really around efficiency, yeah. So whether it is in operations or controls. The third is really the technology, so data, analytics, ERP, and then really the last but probably the most important one, people, yeah. So it is not easy. It requires a big change management, and there is also a big element of talent, yeah. So I'm going to now dig a little deeper into each of these routes and enablers to give you a bit of a flavor, yeah. So when I say that we need to unlock value via growth, what do we mean by that, yeah? So the first thing is really around the new business models, yeah. Each of the business, whichever we work with, whichever we partner with, are going through a big transition, yeah. The way they used to operate is very, very different now, yeah. So if I take HUL example, HUL was very, very heavy on general trade, the kirana stores, the mom and pop stores, yeah. Then came modern trade, yeah. And then the general trade and the modern trade as a channel continued for some time, and we were sort of pretty much comfortable with, yeah. Then e-commerce boomed all of a sudden, yeah. Now we are talking about D2C, right? How do we really sell directly to our consumers, yeah? We are talking about a model where we will sell our goods directly to our customers, which is the retailers, and not routed through distributors, yeah. As organization, as finance people, we are not aware of these new business models, yeah. And hence finance need to really play a key part over here, yeah. The second theme is really around real time and decision ready data. What do I mean by decision ready data? You know, if I take an example, the traditional organization works like a month end MIS or a month end reporting and things like that. Yeah. And when somebody throws a question as to what happened, तुम्हारा sale कम क्यों है, then you go back and then come back with additional data. So that's how we are really geared to work like. Yeah. But in future, this is not how things will operate. Yeah. So things will pretty much operate like that. If you have not achieved your sales number, the finance team will be able to provide an analysis of why that has happened, and it can range anywhere. Like, so it can be from an element of mobility, like because of COVID or whatever reason, people have moved from urban to rural, or the reason could be government spending, say Manrega spends and all, because of that people have lesser money to spend, or it can be as big as the weather in a particular geography is completely different, and hence we are not able to sell our winter portfolio. Yeah. So that is the kind of analytics which will happen. Yeah. And just imagine that if you are able to give this kind of insights to the business, the decisions which will be taken will be far more sharper and far more quicker. Yeah. And then the last one is really around what I call is that, you know, finance need not be involved in all digital projects of a company. Yeah. But they need to partner the most important one. Yeah. Because CFO is the co-pilot, and they need to ensure that they are on top of whatever is happening in the organization. Yeah, so that is one theme around unlocking value via growth. I know that as finance professional, this is not something which is very intuitive to us, but more and more as finance professionals, will be challenged to get into this area. Yeah. If I then move to unlocking value via efficiency, yeah, this is something which we will all be able to relate to. So the first theme is really around new age risk and control. Yeah. So I had a very interesting conversation with one of my colleagues. Yeah. So he is a CFO of a new age startup in Bangalore. Yeah. So I was speaking with him over the weekend, and it was, you know, I find it very funny, but I also find it very realistic. So he told me that he is challenged by the young millennials, saying that आपका PO का process is very bureaucratic. Why do you need a purchase order? Now, for any of us, this will be like, what kind of question is that? मतलब PO नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा? Yeah. But he is getting those questions. Yeah. The other question which he was said that, so he is sort of incurring, so the business team, young generation, 20, 21, 22 years old, are incurring business expenses via Google Pay, and then they are challenging the CFO that, why do I need to submit an expense claim and everything? Why can't I just sort of give a screenshot of that? Yeah. Now, as finance professional, this makes us very, very uncomfortable because we are not used to it. Yeah. But trust me, this will come and hit us at some point of time. Yeah. And we really need to think through how do we get ready for these kind of things. Yeah. And hence, from a controls perspective, throughout we have our approach on controls have been that how do I identify a problem and then I remediate it. Yeah. We won't have the bandwidth to do on any kind of thing. Yeah. We have to really predict what can go wrong in controls and then prevent it. Yeah. That is where we will be able to add significant value to the organization. Yeah? The second thing is really around touchless transactions and forecasting. Yeah. Again, look, sorry, if I'm sounding it little scary. Yeah. But I want to really paint the picture of what future might look like. Yeah. So we might be in a situation where our core operations like R2R, P2P, purchase, payment, accounts, they will be sort of completely touchless. Yeah. They will be run by a very different kind of digital worker. Yeah. And hence we need to upskill ourselves in a very, very big way. Yeah. Forecasting process, the month end or the quarter end for forecasting process which we run. In our organization, it used to be like a 3 weeks exercise every quarter, but that is going to change significantly over a period of time. Yeah. The third bit is really around self-service. What do I mean by self-service? The business team really looks up to us to give information. Yeah. But in reality, there are many business people who are quite savvy. Yeah. They don't really need from finance people, yeah, and they will get used to self-service, yeah. As finance professionals, we will get little uncomfortable, yeah. We will be thinking that, Arey, why this business person is sort of taking decisions without asking data from me? But it's a cultural change which we will have to go through, yeah. So that's really unlocking value via efficiency. If I talk about technology, the first thing is really around data stewardship, yeah. Now, what do I mean over here? Now, so data has sort of really exploded now. Data is not only your SAP, it is not, or your Oracle or your Tally, whatever it is, yeah. Data is all over the place, yeah. So for example, in our organizations, we have SAP data, we have Workday data, we have Nielsen data. So data is very, very disjointed, yeah. And you really need to have one person who can bring this entire data together and drive very good governance. Data is going to be very key. It is going to be a competitive advantage in the future. The team, the company which has the largest data and is able to manage that properly is going to have a competitive advantage. Yeah. Obviously, there is an element of privacy and security which is really coming up, which we need to be cognizant of. Yeah. Then advanced analytics. Yeah. So we have all heard about various kind of analytics which is really going on. The new theme which is emerging in organization is what they are calling as centralization of analytics. Yeah, they call it as center of excellence. Yeah, so what they are essentially doing is they are creating buckets of analytics depending on the decision type. Yeah, so if pricing is one of the key decision which the organization need to take, we will create a center of excellence for pricing. Yeah, and then they will do analytics big time on that. If we talk about brand investment, they will create a center of excellence on brand analytics and will drive analytics really, really hard on that. Yeah. The other softer aspect on analytics is really around the visualization. So Mr. Murtaza was talking about Power BI, Tableau and everything. You have to really present your data in a way, in your analytics in a way which is very intuitive to the user. What is your story? Yeah. That whether your data, whether your information is telling a story so that the user is able to make the most out of it. Yeah. The last bit is really around ERP. So the SAP and the Oracles of the world, they are going to look very, very different. Yeah. In few years time. Yeah. We are not going to have the situation where we have big data centers on premise and everything. Now everything is on cloud. Yeah. This big ERP company can sense that, and hence they are changing their ways of working significantly. They are changing their products in such a way that they can give competition to this small player. Yeah, so the world is going to look very, very different. Yeah. The last bit is really around unlocking value via people, and this is probably the most important ones, and hence I'm going to spend little more time over here. So first of all, what I really call as the most important one is digital transformation governance. So I spoke a lot about it, but what it also means that it sucks a lot of energy from the organization. You put up a lot of resources also in the organization. There has to be one person who hold this entire piece together. Yeah, he is the person who prepares the business case. He or she is the person who sets up the action standards. He or she is the person who drives the governance around that. Yeah, that when we embarked on the digital transformation journey, what did we wanted to achieve? Are we really getting that benefit? Yeah, it is very starking to hear, and I'm sure some of my panel members will cover that many of the digital transformations do actually fail miserably. Yeah, because there is bit of a catch-up kind of thing. Acha ye kar raha hai to mujhe bhi karna chahiye. Yeah, and that is where this particular bucket becomes really, really important, that you are clear what do you want to do, how you will do it, and how you will drive governance around. The middle one is really around powering up the digital capabilities. Yeah, I'm not an expert in digital. My appreciation of digital might be just 5%, 6%, 7%. Yeah, and I really need to upskill myself. Yeah, so I am taking a course, Mr. Murtaza, somewhere to upskill my digital IQ, because otherwise what happens that I am unable to communicate with people who are digitally intelligent. Yeah, so for example, as chief audit executive of HUL, I want to do a lot on digital in my audit function, but if I don't have appreciation, then the person with I am speaking with, I am not able to speak at the same wavelength. Yeah, it is not about the auditor auditee relationship where both of us understand the process and we are able to reach a consensus. This person is talking at some 30,000 feet and I'm just sort of 5,000 feet. Yeah. So I have to really upskill myself. Yeah. So everybody will have to get into this journey at some point or the other. Yeah. So very, very important over there. And from an organization perspective, we have this golden rule which is called as 70-20-10. Yeah. So 70 means that 70% of the learning of an individual happens on the job. Yeah. So that's the premise. The 20 says that you learn via projects which you do and your peers, and 10% is via classroom courses. Now, in the case of digital, the 70-20-10 will really fall flat, yeah, because you can't learn digital technology on the job, yeah. So there has to be a very, very different model, and I call this as hire gurus, yeah. So people who are really expert in digital, you have to get them within your organization. They are the one who are then going to train the trainer, yeah. So 30% of that, yeah. Balance 30% is probably people will learn within the organization. But gurus are going to be big differentiator, yeah. And these are the people who will be in big demand because everybody will be scouting for them, yeah. So you hire the gurus and the gurus then make other people gurus. So that is really around powering up the digital capability. And the last bit is really around the change management. Again, as I said that this is not a simple thing. It takes a lot of organization, effort, time, bandwidth, yeah. So you really need to galvanize the entire organization. You need to ensure that there is a buy-in from the top to ensure that it lands properly, yeah. So these are the 4 themes which I will really land with you, that how do you deliver value via growth, via efficiency, via technology, and via people. And this is my last slide as to what does it really mean from a finance perspective. As finance professional, you have to really reimagine possibilities, yeah, as to what can happen. You have to really build agility, which means that how do you course correct quickly from one area to another, and then how do you really build capabilities of a different thought, yeah. And then I have just put some bullet point. These are based on my learning, experiences I thought I'll share with you. First, as a CFO, you have to build a culture of innovative ideas. There should be a good amount of action and passion within the organization, yeah. You need to experiment and fail fast, yeah. So you can't treat this as an SAP implementation, which is like a 3-year project. छोटे experiment करो, fail हो, वापस चालू करो, yeah. So this is going to be the model as far as the digital transformation is, yeah. The next 2 are my favorite, yeah. Problem sensing. What I mean to say is that focus on the high impact areas. What do you think is going to matter the most? Focus on that. The second one is my most favorite one, which is solution sensing, which means identify the one which is most relevant. And what I mean over here is that you have to look at your organization maturity, yeah. If there is a problem which you can solve with RPA, don't go into artificial intelligence, because 5 other people in this room are going to talk about artificial intelligence, yeah. So really be very cognizant about that, yeah. There will be many people who will be telling many things to you. You have to do your assessment as to what is the problem and what is the best solution, yeah. मच्छर मारने के लिए हम बंदूक नहीं लाते हैं ना. So it's the same thing. You look at your maturity of the organization and decide what solution is the best, yeah. One another thing, don't celebrate too early. And this is my experience. I have celebrated early, gone out with party on implementation of something, and then realized problem hai, yeah. It is very difficult journey, yeah. So don't celebrate too early. After go live, let 1 or 2 quarter go seamlessly, and then only go for a party, yeah. Don't go to a party immediately on the go live date, yeah. Then the last one, identify talent from within and outside, yeah. And more outside than within is my assessment, yeah, because you will not have many talent who are gurus type within the organization, yeah? And start doing that now if you want to do it, because these guys will be in demand big time. And really the last one, yeah, on this journey you are feeling uncomfortable, uneasy, then probably you are on the right path. If you think that everything is going fine and all, then probably you are not on the right path, yeah. This is very disturbing, very challenging, very uneasy, unnerving journey. So that's really, I'll conclude with, yeah, I know we are running short on time, so really thank you for your patient listening. The views expressed are personal. Obviously, I've sort of learned a lot from HUL, and in case you have any queries, you can reach out to me at amit.agarwal@unilever.com, and we will anyway sort of connect after I learn from my other esteemed colleagues. Yeah. So thanks a lot for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. So I now request CA Pinky Kedia to propose well-deserved vote of thanks.
Before giving vote of thanks, if anyone want to put any question to CA Amit Agarwal, then
In fact, I would suggest we'll take you can tell your questions. We'll get into the panel. Amit is also here.
Yeah, I'm here.
While either Hemant can cover those questions in the panel or Amit can also answer that way. If that is okay with everyone, or if there is one or two quick questions, I am sure we can take it here also. Don't worry. Anything? Okay, Pinky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the way I answered that was, मच्छर मारने के लिए आपको बंदूक नहीं चाहिए, right? So I think what I really want you to take out from this session is the principles and learning, yeah? So in your case, it is possible that even macro is going to be a good advancement, yeah? And I will put that under the criteria of automation and digitization, yeah? So you will have to really reflect on what is the maturity of your organization, what are the kind of data set which you have, and what you can leverage on, yeah? This will require a lot of thinking, yeah? So for example, if you have 2-3 systems, yeah, can you then reflect upon that? What are these 2-3 systems? What data am I getting from these systems? Are they consistent data? Is the data of good quality and high quality? And then can I marry these 2-3 data and come up with some insights, yeah? It need not be machine learning or artificial intelligence. It can be as simple as RPA and all, yeah? And now RPA are very straightforward thing, yeah? I'm sure after Murtaza sir's course, you can also create couple of RPA, yeah? So that should not be a big problem, yeah? So just reflect on the organization maturity and see where all you can add value.
Anywhere you can start. So don't worry about the size of the organization. Everybody can do, because today when you go down to a shop, you're more comfortable with the QR code. What previously used to be. Now you are asking for a QR code. Even somebody gives you an IFSC code and account code. I say, give me a QR code. That's more easier to do, right? So the automation starts right from your mobile phone. Right? So don't worry about the size or where you are there. Anywhere you can start. So.
then there is no question, or if there is any question, we can take in our panel discussion in our. CA Amit ji, because our keynote address speaker was CA Rakesh Agarwal ji, but yesterday he fell sick and he referred to CA Amit Agarwal. So I want to thank him to take our invitation, to accept our invitation in such a short notice. So thank you, Amit ji, for that. As Amit ji said that world is moving fast and choice and preference of consumer is also changing, and there is a need to change in an organization for growth. So there he informed us about the 3 themes he has with him, and he also told us why and how to unlocking value through digital transformation, through growth, through efficiency, through technology and people. And at the end, what the key message he has given to us, that create a culture of innovative problem and solution saving, and don't celebrate too early, identify the talent. But last one, which I most like, that if you are uncomfortable and uneasy, you are in the right path. So I think most of the us are agree with this line of Amitji. So Amitji, thank you for your quick and your presentation in very lucid manner. And I want to thank from WILC, Amitji, and request you all to carry with a good round of applause, please.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. No. So look. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So
Anyway, all our things. We are going to do.
So-
What I was saying.
So can I, so look, both the things are very, very different, but can I answer your question first? Yeah, look, because your question is a very pertinent and a very important question. Yeah, and unfortunately, I can't really sort of duck it. It's a bouncer. So, but I'll sort of still try to give a chance. Yeah. So look, when I started my career, yeah, in Vedanta Resources, so I joined in Balco. So that was my first job, fresh out of CA Institute. Have stayed in Calcutta entire my life, and then reached a place which is called Chhattisgarh, which is like mid of nowhere, right? And that company at that point of time was going through SAP implementation, yeah. And my line manager was a great individual. So he said that you have to do bank reconciliation. So bank reconciliation में क्या किया मतलब क्या जिंदगी भर bank reconciliation किया है या which is fine and said okay so sir give me one your bank book and your bank statement. He handed over 3 documents to me. Yeah, he handed over me one output from SAP. He handed over me one output from Oracle, which was the old system, and then he handed over me the State Bank of India ka itna mota printouts. Yeah, and he said that you can continue. Yeah, look, you know, one of the quality of a leader is vulnerability, and you know, for 1 month I literally cried. Yeah, pretty much on the verge of crying. I was not able to manage that. Yeah, so look, all of us sort of go through that phase. Yeah, at some point of time you will have to find out as to how do you make that impact. Yeah, so those 1 months were miserable. Yeah, maybe but you know, the after that I never cried. Yeah, because things can't go worse than that. Yeah, so but I really found out a solution after that. Yeah, so your management is not supportive, so that is fait accompli. Your job would be essentially keep on doing whatever is sort of asked to do. Can you find out 15 minutes, half an hour out of your daily routine and create some use case and demonstrate to that individual, sir, this is what I can demonstrate. Do you see value in that? Yeah, you are in a bit of a tough spot, my dear friend. You will have to help yourself. So do whatever he or she is asking you to do, but find out half an hour in your daily routine. See if you can create a use case out of your job and demonstrate to that individual. I think that's the only best way I can think of answer. Otherwise, Arab, if you want to add, yeah. Yes, please.
Because of the traditional way of doing things, what is happening, and because of the new age tools or your solution which you're suggesting, what can be the difference? Okay, so that's the problem, that's the solution, and what will be the ROI? What will be the cost of implementing? the benefit, what is the ROI of it? Either it will be efficient, or it will be a cost saving, or it will be something else. So try and identify that. And you go once, you will get rejected. Twice, you'll go rejected. But at some point of time, you'll see success. My experience of it, but not a front end environment. What I have seen, finance करता है ऐसे हम of leading the organization. Like I've seen. So how to, like we are told, like you presented, try to demonstrate to the management, like this is what this is. I have seen, because nobody wants change in the organization. Management may decide to change. They are not willing to change. They follow traditional practice. They are still on Excel. Earlier, I can say transformation. Like from Google Sheet, which at point of view, take it like either we should leave the organization.
So this is, see, we are also not old, yaar, hum abhi jawan. See, the CA degree, the one thing which is there when I passed out, सबसे बड़ी जो चीज सीए की है ना, वो ये है भूखे नहीं मरेंगे. ओके, इंजीनियर हैं, एमबीए हैं, शायद आपको जॉब फिर भी ना मिले. CA is only degree which has the highest respect, not because we are all CAs. It is the truth which is there. Okay, that is the first thing. So always have a belief that you can do it. Second, the person whom you are reporting, 10 years, 15 years back, he was like you. Okay, so most of the times, and that is my personal opinion, most of the times it is both ways. जितना उसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है आपसे, उतना शायद आप भी समझा नहीं पा रहे होंगे. ठीक है, so you need to find ways, keep bugging him or bugging the things to figure out what is the right way to project your ideas. Many or ask. So like in my company, I have a simple principle: either you convince me or I'll convince you. That's the piece. Many of the organizations do not have that. But as a person, we should just go and say that मेरा view ये है, या तो आप मुझे समझा दो कि क्यों नहीं करना चाहिए, या मैं आपको समझाता हूँ क्यों करना चाहिए. No, and I am sure if you try it for 2 times, 3 times, if the company doesn't change, at least your image within the company will increase, saying that this guy thinks progress, right? Most of the companies, whether you are a CFO, whether you are a CEO, whether you are anybody, they will survive to that extent only if they think that ultimately business hoga, profit. Top line and bottom line, what Amit said, is very critical. So very critical for you to figure out, am I presenting it right? Right?
See, that language everyone. Any language everyone. There is a saving. You can demonstrate, then more likely of it. And second is everyone is stretched for time.
Absolutely.
That is another point. Instead of this, then conversion is likely to happen.
You will take the credit. I'll take the debate. See, in that fear of failing. Because today, longer fashion, like a accounts payable process, an automation, right? Reduce the cost, reduce the resources. It's not all about. When we presented a case that like what is a used to take 28 days. Now it has, the processing time has come down because of a OCR process. It has come down to a 1 hour. What we are presented the case is that like this 28 days is going to be a float which is available. Can I go for a dynamic discounting which will earn a revenue? Because that's the way you need to think through. That's the way it is going to give a profit. That's the way. What he talked about the high gurus is all about how to present it. while we have all the cases, these digital guys can come and give a different perspective. Rightly said to you, this is an intuition or this is the passion which you have. Don't leave it because somebody is not saying it. Okay, there are better ways in life, better things in life to do, right? You take a credit. No. See, you don't teach him to catch the fish. You give the fish because he will not know. Next time he has to sustain, right? Once he has been in the podium to say that like, this is the credit, he'll be completely dependent on it. So.
No. Great. So then let us move into the panel. I think the discussion will continue similarly. Maybe Hemant will have a few questions for the panelists, but it can keep on coming. And I think like we are only so much, so we'll continue in the same room. Are we all okay with that? Yeah. Okay. Fine. So quickly we'll move. Hemant, you can shift here.
Yes.
You can also be a co-panelist.
Hemant, come.
Because in any case, Amit has kind of, brought the digital disruption. You should also be. Panel will be incomplete without you.
Wherever there are chairs, you guys will come ahead and the screen is there also if you want to shift. But now there is no presentation. I'll request everyone to switch on the mic whenever, like, so you can use this mic. Speak little near on that. Okay.
Mic in front of you so you can just switch on and then speak. So quickly moving to our next session, which is panel discussion, I request CA Ruddesh Pankhania to introduce our today's moderator and panelists.
Good evening, everyone, and I think amazing start to already the panelist talk that we've already begun. To quickly give you an introduction of our today's panelist, and Amitji's introduction has already been given. So our panelists include CA Parthasarathy sir, CA Ashish Goyal sir, CA Jignesh Kenya sir, and the whole panel will be moderated by CA Hemant Dabke sir. To give an introduction, CA Parthasarathy is currently working for Nayara Energy Limited as Chief Accounting and Taxation Officer, and Head Transformation. They're responsible for managing finance, accounting, taxation, insurance, and digital transformation initiatives of Nayara. He has 22 plus years of work experience, which is balanced between the ONG finance and technology, having worked earlier with HPCL Mittal Energy Limited and HPCL in the technology space with L&T Infotech handling the ERP and the cognitive solutions for finance leading as well. Cause he is a chartered accountant and has certification in company secretaryship, forex and risk management, IFRS implementation, and financial forensics. Can we have a brief round of applause for our next panelist, CA Ashish Goyal, a co-founder and chief financial officer at EarlySalary, the India's largest consumer lending application for salaried individuals. He oversees the overall strategic direction of the company. Ashish also focuses on building the funding profile of the company to ensure that it is diverse and deep. Backed by over 18 years of experience in the global financial space and in portfolio management, he has imparted a dynamic approach to launching his fintech venture in India. EarlySalary has achieved the milestone of disbursing more than 2.5 million loans amounting to over 5,000 rupees crores. He was associated with Bajaj Allianz Group, where he was responsible for assets under management. He is also understanding of financial markets in the country. He was honored with the Most Astute Bond Manager Award in 2011 by Asset Magazine, Singapore. He's a chartered accountant. He loves reading otherwise on diverse topic of interest. Let's have a big round of applause for Ashish. Our next panelist is Jignesh Kenya, who's a chartered accountant and a company secretary with more than 20 years of experience in consulting and media and entertainment. He's currently heading the corporate strategy and digital transformation at Times Network and is responsible for growth, corporate planning, strategic partnership, M&A, digital initiatives, and revenue assurance. He played a pivotal role in the expansion of the network from 5 channels to 12 channels. He was the CFO leading finance and strategy for the broadcasting business of UTV and responsible for entire financial, accounting, business planning, budgeting, etc. His role included partnering with business verticals on strategy, financial planning, and reporting and operational efficiencies. Jignesh has also worked with KPMG Muscat, providing tax compliance, planning, and business advisory. He's active in the startup ecosystem both as an investor and a mentor. Let's have a round of applause for Jignesh. The entire panel talk is going to be moderated by Hemant Dabke, the Regional Vice President, India and SARC at UiPath. He's a Regional Vice President at UiPath, responsible for driving hyper-growth across India and South Asia for enterprise business. He helps customers streamline their business processes and realize full potential out of intelligent automation at scale. With over 28 years of experience in the technology industry, he's worked with startups, set up growth factories, incubated businesses, and supersized them with focus on delivering industry-leading profitable growth. He joined UiPath from SAP India, where he was the Vice President and Head of Enterprise, BFSI and Telecom business. Previously, Hemant rebuilt the government, defense, and PSU business of SAP, delivering 100% CAGR across cloud and on-premise business lines for 3 years in a row. He's also worked with Microsoft with over a decade. Hemant holds a bachelor's degree in electronics from Pune University and is passionate about leveraging technology to benefit customers and society. I think let's have a round of applause for all our panelists. And thank you, Amit ji, also for joining the panelist talk. It's going to be the topic of digitization. We're looking forward and automation. Thank you so much. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you. So now I request Honorable Chairman to present memento to all the speakers and panelists.
One by
Parthasarathy. Ashish ji Goyal.
Come all the way from Pune for this session. Ashish, thank you very much.
Jignesh.
At WRC, we trouble him the most. We call him every alternate murder, please.
To Hemant.
And you will know why also. Lot of use cases, he's got a lot to talk about. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Now over to you, Hemant ji.
Thank you so much. I must confess I'm very overwhelmed among all the distinguished panelists and all the chartered accountants. This is probably the most firepower that I have seen in one room after my passing out ceremony. And you know that in the engineering batch, 100% of the result, at least from the batch that I passed out, we've had 100% of the pass outs. But in CA, the best case scenario is I think 5%, right? So clearly I am in a in an August company, and I'm also the odd man out. I hope you'll allow me to make few mistakes along the way. Murtuzaji, thank you so much for this opportunity. Sincerely appreciate. Interestingly, what has happened is Amit's session has completely destroyed all the questions that I was going. Okay. And hence we're going to kind of make this a little more open, little more interactive. Because he's already busted all the myths. He's also said all the do's and don'ts. But very interesting session. And on a side note, I'm going to get my account manager to chase you down. Because all the scenarios that you mentioned are all automation scenarios. And if he misses his target for this year, you know what he should be doing next. All right, so I'm going to start with Partha, if that's okay with you. You have a very interesting background. You have done, I'm not audible till the end? So you've done business and technology, both. I continue to have only practitioner's view. I have always been on the technology. What does really digital you mean? So, and in the context of what you've done so far, how do you look at the digitization and automation? Where do they converge and where do they?
Great question. I was wearing both the hats. I think the way in which I see a digital transformation is a very open topic. It starts with a process part. For a business guy, all these automation means, digital transformation means a process. How do I bring an efficient? There is something called a business model. You would have seen they have disrupted the market, completely market. That is a transformation. It's a second type of a transformation. If I'm just wearing a hat of an IBM or an I've done a domain transformation, right? Domain transformation, right? For cloud, etc. That's going to be a different effort, right? Then an AI is going to be. What Amit touched upon there, change management, organizational change management, and what the topic he talked about, the acceptability. All these are multi-dimensional thing, and maybe thing which gave me a leverage in both things. When I just went to technology side, I could speak the business here to connect with them. And when I'm currently representing, right, as rightly asked by him, what is the measure, right, is easily, I think, able to leverage both the things. And for me, the digital transformation doesn't end. COVID taught us a lesson. Nobody is superior, nobody. And everybody can lead. One of the greatest thing what had to revalidate all our digital transformation. Not that I'm following. After the COVID, the management asked us, I was heading the transformation, do you really want to spend all this relevant? The relevance part came into the picture. So, very dynamic one. And I see that like the transformation of business. Say after the COVID, do you wanted to restaurant? Oh, often we are all used to the Swiggies. Oh, obviously, yesterday indeed we were just having. So we could see the entire delivery, and there were around serving, and 6 were on the delivery, and the way, and we were of the opinion, why did we come? So the business model has changed because they know that the business revenue is going to come from there. So the adaptability part, and that's the way I see that this transformation all about.
Very well said. Very well said. Thank you so much for that. On that note, I'm going to switch gear and sort of pull you into this conversation. there's a significant process disruption, and you alluded to it. You talked about the fact that your your tried and tested models of it, which tried it, are kind of getting challenged over and over. In this scenario, you lean on this more.
I think it's a very pertinent large organization. Challenges come out that galvanize undermine the importance of that. Organization called as council. Yeah, so it's a very coveted group chaired by our C heads that council. Yeah, separate, and there are 50 projects that are running at any point of time. Every project. Best of the talent right across business, IT, form part of that organization. Somehow I am unable to see a distinction. I have started looking at them as one and same thing. So I would really say that the organization buy-in is the moment as leaders buy-in is not happening back and really drive for that, yeah. And process and technology for me are pretty much intertwined. I can't really separate. Technology is touching. So taking orders. So let's take a simple example. Whatever 2 million outlets or so. Historically, the process has वो लिख के लाएगा and then order करेगा. Now that process have implemented an app called Shikhar app where the retailer is placing the order directly on its mobile. It's a completely different. I don't know now where the process has gone. So more and more in convergent and technology and process hand in hand. I somehow believe, and I might be wrong, I think technology will have an upper hand in future. That's my view.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
So, look, accounting does not, when a Kirana shop owner places the order, yeah, the accounting happens in my case when I sell to distributor. I am enabling this transaction with the relationship between the distributor and my larger ecosystem. So technically, I don't have any the retailer, but given that I am working in such a large ecosystem, I do have to take care of that. I have to ensure that how my distributor becomes. I have a big challenge in the sense that is he making return on investment? Yeah, how will he make sufficient? There's lesser number of on ground people running around sort of shop to shop to take order. So then I build this capability. अच्छा ये लो app लो. So that is, so accounting does not really come into the picture, but I am enabling my distributor to be sort of market. He will get the real time order. Order immediately मिल जाएगा, नहीं तो शाम को मिलता है, एक दिन delivery से देरी से होता है. So it's a much larger ecosystem which we as an organization cater to. It's not only HUL, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you so much for that.
I might say that, yeah. I have a very different point of view. Yes, and that is inevitable, ma'am. Yeah, it is. Look around us. No, like, can we imagine a life? So, for example, if somebody tells you that you won't have Paytm and G when you leave this office, yeah, you won't have Ola. Can you imagine your life without that? At least I can't imagine that. Yeah. How I sometimes I don't. I forget my wallet. But I have my navigate easy. The roadside puchka wala take Paytm, right? The technology, what we as finance professionals for, that the technology which we are deploying is fit for purpose, balances. Yeah? While we see Paytm I'm sure there are many of working industry. That is the whole point of upskilling coming to the picture.
We have moved ahead. We are business partners, so we need to understand the business. Like what he was talking about is just a demand forecasting. I need to have a demand. Like in the petroleum industry, I have a lot of time. We have got an automation system. Transportation process. Because I have a complaints requirement. How do I ensure? Because there is one depot, there is a closest depot. I need to, whether I need to take a 12 kl truck or I need to take a, all depends upon that. All these have been automated. It goes into see that process. And as I said that like, even the government has moved ahead. Yeah, because every of this invoice is not. Because what it gives as a greater comfort, the credit management has become much more easier. So I'm getting a real-time credit. So again, it has become an embedded one. I don't think so. We can move as a process or a technology. Technology-driven process or a process dependent upon a technology, whatever you make.
So what happens that just like the adoption takes time. Yeah. So for example, currently have 7 lakh who are using. It has been a journey. It's like that we deployed an app. Everybody is on the Shikhar app. Once we actually had something like a parallel run in the sense that because you have to coach that individual, that Kirana store is like, look, I don't know this app and everything. You are here, you tell me. So there was a time when the salesperson was sort of taking the shopkeeper mobile and punching on his behalf, yeah. But those are the transformation journeys, right? This takes some time. To your point, but once people get used to that is done. Why they will order less? They will not order less because demand from me and you has not changed, right? I will still go to that retailer, that person, that I need this XYZ shop. Challenge could be that instead of buying a Dove shampoo, is it possible that PNG might come up and sort of that salesperson can sort of ask for that by PNG? But then it is really the role of marketing. What is your brand stand for? If there is a pull from consumer, that demand generation will automatically happen. But just like any other thing, this also has a transition. We did not celebrated Shikhar go live very quickly. We did for a few quarters and then only we celebrated. So, look, I will not get into the numbers, but I think while that logic, any other FMC, what they really get is, look at the word FMC. Have inventory over there, but the inventory is base, yeah. So I don't know the exact details of the numbers, and I'll avoid getting into that. But the whole rolling of the number is so fast, right? Either play a volume game or you play a huge margin game, yeah. For distributors, it works that they are rolling sizable amount of money, which is a win-win relationship between. Can I request if you
Sir,
don't
can
mind,
we-
since it is a different topic,
I
I will
yeah.
be there after this. We can sort of discuss to the extent it is possible for me. It's getting little out of the topic, and hence, but happy to connect. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Partha used a very interesting term. You know, said all of that is automated, and I think that is where, and I can't resist opportunity to tell the automation. But the fact of the matter is that I think that's where the automation technology play a very not, it is beyond the perception. Lights on. That's the level of the automation. Sure that overtake technology and technology over. Amit also mentioned at some point in time in his a digital worker, and that digital worker is nothing. Times. I'm going to switch gears here, you know, from the physical world now to the. Sorry, I'm going to switch. I said gears now. And I have two of my esteemed panelists. Jignesh, who kind of represents the edge, and the digital media. And obviously then I have friends. So quickly to both of you. You heard what are your views of digital world getting?
That's thanks for raising that. Parthasarathy,
Is like you were able to, or maybe the GST. That I want to understand that it was like this. So that because sales people they are this is for sales, right? Because the sales heads are there. So for them, like auto they got of the host that is maybe.
if I may, let's remember, accounting is, let's not put the cart before. Don't jump to accounting as to when the transaction. Accounting can always. When the so thanks for raising that, but I'm just about the fact that keep accounting and right when you're now coming to the question. So just a very quick start to that is that digital transformation or digital. Once you have every 3 years, every 2 years, technology will change, and hence have to keep up. Let's take 10 years back, just to give an example of how digitalization. If you had to see what is digital transformation, and some months. 8 years back, what did it mean? If you go 5 years back, then it meant being present on mobile. Again, 2 years back, then you heard about terms like AI, machine learning. Now, to date, now you're talking about Web 3.0, everything. So, the technology will keep changing. You have to have based on it. So once you have to what's better on that, and that is what our job is. And as finance, I mean, what are the core understanding processes? Okay, going back to again link between, and that is where I would urge all of you. That is the CFO to this because when he processes a bill, he understands what happens. And that is why he is the closest, I would say, with due respect, closest to it to understand what kind of thing. And hence he has to be again be close to technology. So how we saw a journey from a website to a mobile app to now various technology, really what you will be actually shopping with some. That is what. So then you have to track of change in technology. That's what I would. Because I think there is a process. So technology, if you don't have process, you will get a mobile app. If it's not processed, all of it is a process. There is a guy who reached top, which is every day. So it is great technology, but it was working well before COVID. Both of them are part of the technology. Second is the world is moving. मुझे ऐसे मिल रहा है अकाउंट की हो रही है but as we see the young generation they are thinking of how we can use it. There are other elements Because we doesn't even learn. Do a cost benefit. So the key is business, more customers. The world is changing like what strategy use. Years back, what have you had? Today we are changing. Like people, now we are also thinking of verifying. How do people can virtually don't just to play out, just to see how so what the come from end customer, like in case of Nayara Energy, and the dealer doesn't need to make an order. Because now it is the technology has reached to a level where the on so the petroleum company knows the stock more than my father knows. The automation is reached to that level where product. No, like today in our system works. Technology is a zero, again a zero budgeting. To start zero, assume what cost. Customer को क्या चाहिए? And then think about it, saying that this is something which can here. It's like if you don't give it, somebody else will give it. And there is enough money available to back the ideas. So the most critical piece is how you do it. Today, what customer needs? Faster, better, more things, nothing else. Right? So these are the critical pieces which going to your management, if you are in management, very, very critical. And today we in a month do almost close to 300,000. 6 underwriters. Tax care of it because automatically. So those 92%, as soon as they complete the application, and the aim is to go from 90 to 100. That's one part of it. The bigger part is that how you really go back and look at this. How यार मैंने 50,000 लेकिन ये आया नहीं मेरे पास. The system is how I go and teach my system. That's why machine learning comes. So this entire equation keeps playing again and again. Then you build your algorithms, check for the efficiencies, sometimes you go for customer experience, but again customer experience is so the transformation is something which we should available or the words available. The thing is that how does it make sense? There is a way the world will look much different. How it will look in 5 years time is complete. And it brings a lot of interesting things. The regulatory risk has gone up. The audits has gone up significantly. And today we are a regulated entity. The way RBI looks at us is like it is digital transformation. Digitalization is also a headache. But it is an opportunity. And RBI is taking both things. The big banks from their perspective. That's another opportunity while you are building. How those things are moving within technology quickly, like who has an approach of the world. It is very easy to find auditors, but it is also very easy to hack into it and hack it. And so both of them are intertwined thing and but the biggest thing is for zero budgeting, just assume technologies like we started with those pages. HTML आया और वेब कोड 3 की बात हो रही है जिसके अंदर बात वर्चुअली गया है.
Well said. Wanted to add your comments.
So on the accounting question, 14 years back, Vodafone set up the system. At that time, like the invoices from across India, the vendors used to courier the invoice. Then someone would open the envelope, open the chapters, scan it, and through OCR technology, the invoices were accounted that time. Now, when the invoices started coming from Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, the heading was in Tamil or in Kannada. No one in Ahmedabad understood Kannada or Tamil or X or Y, India language. So they said, like, this is an A4 invoice, number should be here, date should be here, your name should be here, whatever. A standard format was given. Like, I think a lot of mention is happening about the process. So this is a standard process. You want to work with us, work, otherwise don't work. But today, do you think people are still couriering the invoice? The answer is no. They just uploading, the invoice is automatically opened by a bot, the bot reads everything, and they are processed. So purchase invoices are no longer accounted, right? And in the last shared service center, there are so many of them here now. Similarly, payroll processing, claim processing, the whole bank reconciliation. Now, Vodafone global accounting happens in India. Whether it is South Africa or UK or Portugal, the accounting is happening in India. So how many bank accounts across the globe? Few thousand. And to do the bank repo every month, you need few hundred people. They don't have that type of people. So the bots do the reconciliation, and there are only few people who just open and see and monitor and then take corrective action. So why there is a check issue was not presented or check was not created or what really first. And the complete accounting is happening here. So I'm saying like in accounting, but I'm sure maybe if not more in 2 years' time, Tally will also give you an option. And they were and you now Tally gives you a bank reconciliation option. You download the bank book, bank statement, or the reconciliation. So Tally will give you. Zoho also gives a lot of options. So a lot of those accounting for the smallest of shop and for the smallest of chapter accountant, accounting will not be a income source or revenue source. Accounting is not going to be done by the accountant. It's going to be done automatically.
Is it audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to add the technology part and the cost part. So I work with a company where we use Oracle also, we use Tally also, different places. And we don't use any software especially or tool for our reconciliation, bank reconciliation. We actually spoken to few guys for especially for digital transformation, automation, a lot of things went. And as the management told, okay, what we'll do with Oracle? Everyone says Oracle, SAP, but why can't you do something which is very basic and simple? Why you need a software to do a reconciliation? It's easy. In fact, very correct. Okay, you have the software and it's okay, fine. But then what we thought as a process, what we can do? My management is not giving go ahead, but I need to do some automation. And you will be surprised, okay, today sitting in India, okay, we give a confirmation within 5 minutes. So customer depositing money across the world, any country, they deposit the money. Within 5 minutes, we give the confirmation money has come into my bank account and sales can actually go ahead and do the sales. I'm talking about the countries which are Nigeria, where you don't have the power. I'm not talking about technology, don't have the power, but you deposit the money, we see the accounts, simple process, we don't do anything. I have the system, just check it and do it. But then again, where I was lagging in particular my process, I don't know which is the customer who's depositing the money. If especially in Africa, if I have an account, it's not necessary I will deposit the money in my account. Okay, I will go and deposit the money in my wife's account, but give you a confirmation I have deposited the money from this account, give me the sales. Suddenly, then we thought what we should do, basic things, but then suddenly applied, okay, why don't we give a ERP, customer account number, to the person. So whenever you go, any transfer you do deposit slip or you do the online transfer, you put that particular number. So now we have that number. So once we have that number in our bank statement and we have the same number in our ERP, okay, we do the reconciliation within 10 minutes. I don't need any board, I don't need anything. I'm just telling about the scale part, but just think about the process, think about what you can actually do. Simple process, I don't need to spend any money. My reconciliation gets deleted in 10 minutes. But then, as I'm not saying, we should be against automation. A lot of things.
But it's person dependent. No, you take 10 minutes. We will do it in 10 microseconds.
You will charge me. Do it for free. I don't have any issue.
We won't need you. So we save the cost.
Agreed. But what I'm telling you, when we start doing this thing, see, I am pro automation. I will always love to do it.
I think digital assistants will only, they will never replace us. what is important for us to understand in this conversation, the technology is not here to replace you. Technology is to enhance all that we do and take it to the next level. Also because, and there's a very interesting point that Amit made in his conversation. Multi-generation. Majority of the young ones sitting in this room don't want to file reports. They don't want to do basic level reconciliation. They don't want to look at the, any repetitive process. And it is nothing to do with them. It is just the way they've been built, they've been brought up. Because their UI UX interfaces that they are very intuitive. They don't do the stuff over and over. And hence you require a digital assistant which will help do all of these tasks or repetitive tasks. And hence free up the time to actually do a lot. That is exactly what the technology does, or an automation does, or a bot does, which is what he said. The fact that today a fintech is able to look at a process of either approving loan or rejecting a loan by the time the form is filled, which the traditional means take days, right, at the least, is only because of the technology. Nothing else. Because you're still doing the same thing, right? You're still doing credit check, you're still doing underwriting, you're still doing the entire whole 9 yards before either approving or rejecting that particular application. That doesn't change. Process remains same. What you've done is that you've automated it to a level where you are able to respond, within a flash.
At this point of time, we have done balance reconciliation, tax reconciliation. That's the problem which a bunch of 3 chartered accountants saw, and they have created some.
So I think I'll clarify it once, that after the larger conversation. The goods, my sales happen when I sell to, then distribute. So shipper thing comes in larger ecosystem, yeah, because our distributors are selling life of the better. It will help the end consumer, help the distributor, and when our stakeholders are feeling better, HUL as an organization will do good, yeah. So I think think that is the way we really look at it. Yeah, so our relationship is really with the as compared to some of the companies which are coming up, which are sort of in, and probably your company is sort of in that age.
Can we just ask you, what was the trigger for you to? Everybody has got a different trigger. Have a system. You have had a trigger in the mind, right? Why you wanted to have a system? Because if you have a trigger that you are collecting a data for efficiency in your organization, obviously, when you are going to take this part and change it to a larger thing, because you are not understanding his complication. Complication is very genuine. Same way, I'm just extrapolating my dealers. Obviously, I'm doing stock transfer. I'll do then obviously he has to file the C. Why I should push it across to him? Then I'll move it to my own depot and I'll do a VAT. Right? Obviously, there is something different. Like if the requirement for you is to do a demand forecasting at your end, I think you should stop it and you should give the comfort to that person. Is that I'm not going to jeopardize your business, or I'm not going to do it. Let us leave it. That's where, because you can't be comparing done by an organization with another, because everybody has got a different outcome, right? In a complaint, would ask you that whether the liability will fall backward. Why you should take that, right? Because again, in going with our experiences, it a retail outlet.
I think her query is more relating to tax than transformation. So we can take it offline. I can answer that. One more. Yeah. Okay. And we can take up questions a little bit later once all the panelists finish. So over to you, Hemantji.
All right. So this is very engaging conversation. So I'm going to quickly switch gears and now invite the CFOs to answer this part. I'm sure you get a lot of what are the three things?
First, it helps. Cost is the secondary. How much fast we can just take this. Because things are going on. It's so dynamic that even if, well, within 3 months, if I'm able to, I can think how best I can be. If I can just be at risk and the way of business of my competitor, worth investing. Last thing is, do I want to be the leader? There are a lot of things which makes it different. I wanted to be leader. One campaign with fancy. Because what it gives me a benefit is that like confirmation of reach. Confirmation gives me an advantage. Name is tenable. Accepted document. Then the insurer can immediately trigger a payment. So here the question is not about the liquid. Branding myself as a lead. He has touched it. I'm trying to touch it. So it's completely different.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Thank you so much. Amit?
No, I think it's very well answered. I'll just add two things. What is the
tools or what is the tech? Is where you have technologies and so I really challenge that is this scalable or is going to so that is not going to happen. 2 months or 2 years down the lane, I'll be looking at another new, then probably I'll have to take a call like I think that is one important. Where I can calculate. The second thing, आप क्या करोगे? अच्छा ये पैसे लो. How I am going to? Is it that you are going to get one more number of
Brilliant, brilliant. Jignesh, the same question for you. And then I'm going to change the question for you, Ashish.
So let me reverse it. As you know, was CFO. And just here, what is this leverage to enhance or create a stellar customer. So that is that in my one. Second point is agile process. So is it or helping? And the third is like Amit also with the use of data. Again, is it on that? And can it create a high impact over a problem? Bringing all the data in.
Very nice. What I'm going to switch here for you is that you're a CFO, but you're also in that sense, you need to look at it from a perspective. You're not just taking a decision. In the outcome. How do you look at
Become a leader. For us, once you are a leader, and there are of course how any of down they were a large team to like yesterday we were allow customer to just and that just gets transformed. But after doing the so, those are the things where you are on tech, have a greater control. How can you, what are the next, like the now, a lot of conversations. Like in 2 years, not be virtual. Like this, you come out, what are the product which guides our priorities. There is something by the automation, spend a lot of time in things become
Very insightful, Ashish. Thank you so much for that. I know we are top of the hour. So just one quick closing comment from each one of you, and
so it is an integral part of our journey, avoiding it. So better to take it as soon as possible, and don't worry about the success or failure. What is destined to happen will happen. But as I said, that COVID has taught us a lesson that switchable or nobody has gone ahead further. Then you can start. The earlier one is better.
I would just remind you of that analogy again. For killing a mosquito, you don't need a revolver. Yeah. So you have to just think about how do you make your process. And when I started on this automation journey, I always used to think that, I always used to tell this to my team that you have a job, there will always be some element of your job which you will find very, very frustrating. I also have some elements of it. I think you keep on sort of challenging yourself that how can I make it more efficient, and you will automatically be pulled into this journey.
So I would say that CFOs are best placed and can create the most impact in the digital transformation. So keep your minds open instead of resisting, become the part of it. I genuinely believe because you are connected, you understand each and every process, and hence by being a part of it, you will contribute the most to the success of this journey. So just open up your mind and take up that rather than resist. I think what I always was aware, but I learned much more coming this the amount of understanding you about what you are saying. Because you see the hard numbers, what is are they profitable, are they really promising. At the end of the day, you go through the numbers and come back. I'm not talking about accounting or accounting stuff. Therefore, you understand and you look at it. So, the top management saying that what it is looking like. This is the first thing that we understand this game and how this is going to help the company. There's the first thing which many times we have ourselves. Over a time, there is most of the companies that we are seeing over there. So something which not be true. How is it going to help? Just sticking old technology, just to save not the right thing. Maybe there will be a be a part of the digital journey. That's the world will look like, and it will be more. And that is where our strong belief is that is that many of the companies talk about this. Everybody will go through digital journey. The way to our departments to digitize their internal processes. But their focus is last time. अगर वापस कोविड हुआ तो घर से many of the organizations made it. But I think the right way to look at it is that my customers. We are running. तो हम तो जब कोविड हुआ था तब क्योंकि today a laptop and don't have any branches. We work from Pune यहाँ पे आते हैं. हमें बाहर आए कस्टमर ढूंढना पड़ता है कि ऐसा तरीके से बात करें. So I am saying what will be. So you need to go back and say that I am not here to just make sure whatever I have learned in COVID or anything, I just implement. You need to go back and say that what more can. You don't need to build it. There are 10 startups who have built the things like Dukan, they have built end-to-end. Just take it. Like Microsoft Office now is available at $100 a month. So technology is cheap. Cloud has made the entire thing like we work on cloud and data center we might cost 2 crores every year. Wonderful. So they just keep an open mind. That's not it. If you are a technology company.
Last few quarters I've had. I think today's conversation is kind of one more thing that I have. Clearly, this is my personal take. Conversations have already changed. How conversations have, and I'm going to take that. That's not interesting. Clearly, the way I see CFOs and only for better. Because as those understand the entire, there isn't a better person. Thank you so much for what. Once again, thank you to the forum and C for inviting us. And thank you.
Title note, this, every one of us, the further beyond a CFO, we also want. I think this gives a greater insight of what the business is doing, and we are in the process of controlling the business, and easily we can move into the next level. It's a very personal selfishness, which also comes into the picture that yes, we are part of it, and there is a greater acceptability. When I have contributed to the benefit, my acceptability as a CFO, much, much easier.
Well said. So, any questions we can take?
Yeah. Audible?
One last question, and we can take all the questions offline on the dinner. Okay, please.
Yeah, around 3.5, 4 years back. So one of the problem which we face is the implementation of RPA. So we had a combination of RPA and the OCR technology. So the implementation took almost 6 to 7 months. Then we had this UAT, and then we went live. So when we went live, after 3 months, our software, our ERP, the UI and the UX went for a change. So our entire, RPA went for a big toss. So the RPA or the technology are more static in nature. They are not dynamic with the current compliances. Okay, keeping on changing. For example, e-invoicing is one of the greatest example, right? So we had implemented OCR, and then e-invoicing came into the picture. So again we had to contact the vendor and got those things changed. So obviously there is a lot of cost involved into it. So obviously high cost is one of the factor. The RPAs or the technologies are more static in nature. They are not dynamic in nature, and so obviously the ROI is a big problem in justifying, and obviously training the staff, because not all people would be very much tech savvy. So we are more dependent on those external vendors to come and solve the problem, because nobody would be that much technical competent. So how would the softwares or the how would the RPA vendors basically, or how would be the digitization be in the coming years? Because cost is a major factor. Being static is it's a very big factor. So how would that be handled by the companies or maybe the vendors in the coming future?
I'll take it as a guide who will.
One, I'll give it to my friend.
So see, basically, choice of what you want it to navigate. You can do anything and everything. You can just build a report process of that. What is that you wanted to do with the RPA? As Hemant said, at least you need to leave. That means it has to be closer to the more move towards an IT or a technology partner. It's not going to be, because it's going to be one another gap. Even in our organization, it has been a very clear action standard also law. That what should go through an RPA. So a screen scrapping or a screen capturing, all those things we train these guys to do it. That any change which is there possible. We have a lot of places where the capture comes to them. And you can't do anything, right? Because you something there. So it's a different technology altogether. We need to a different. Choice was that if you ask your IT to drive it, I think that's going to be where we will land. More closer to the for a business. So the factory. Like I have a team who processes 4,000 invoices per day. At the end of the month, I need to close my books. Today, when I was coming out, I know that there is around 20,000 invoices. Because I need to tomorrow issue the results, right? What is the results? Now we are leveraging RPA to do it because they know how to do it. Immediately they'll run it. It's not that it's going to replace them, but that's where it's all about the invoicing part or the other part. Had you trained your team, because there will be definitely a risk. You have put it across. Maybe my AP automation journey went before the COVID, but the kind of developments what the team has done afterwards far superior than what I have thought through and delivered. So that's the way it is. I think the RPA should be closer to the business, while the IT will always have a say that we wanted to do it. The moment you are going to, you are creating another parallel system.
And what is the success ratio of your RPA or your technology which you are using on an average basis?
Around 60.
Okay, because that is the percentage even we are getting.
See, the moment you are saying that 35% is not achievable, that means there is a process in it. that's the process. The process in this. That we don't ask, because then what you are trying to do, you are circumventing the deficiencies and you create something, not the right way.
And is there any other technology?
Okay, we get to daily ads on TV. We get release orders from agencies. Okay, we have around 70 to 100 agencies. So where we went about from an RP perspective is we did, so we saw that 15 agencies contributed around 80 to 80. We first did this goes in. So we achieved balance was being booked manually, and only that 15 agent hours we automated. Then we saw the success. We saw it ran for 6 months. Then we picked up the next 50 to cover it up to 90%. And then balance 10% didn't justify the cost. So it's manually.
And
are there any solutions which are ERP agnostic?
But I think that 90%
implementation at 15 lakhs, annual license cost of 3 lakhs, cost reduction of 4 resources at an average salary of 8 lakhs, 32 lakhs rupees per annum.
But there would be an AMC cost involved into it.
3 lakhs.
Okay.
Just last, like when we are thinking of upgrading a ERP,
let's discuss this. Coming back to your point, if there is without that, any technology may or may not work.
And is there any other technology just from an academic interest other than RPA, OCR, AI, API, I mean host to host, which I'm missing in the current discussion? Is there any other technology which will be coming in the near future?
Very different in context of what.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So now I request Saurabh Ajmera to propose formal vote of thanks. Saurabh.
Thank you for going to the vote of thanks. I want to say something. You all are the pride of our institute. You are leading our profession in the industry. So let's have a big round of applause for each one of us. Let me congratulate Gautam and Pinky ma'am to organize such a wonderful program. Actually, we always have discussed in our council that we are less connected to the members in industry in compared to the practices. But today I can say we have such kind of very good initiatives or very good programs through which we can connect. We request all of you, please promote these programs to industry so we can. It's really a pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for such a wonderful program where we have discussed digitization and automatizations with various examples related to technology versus process, trade of changing technologies, need of customer versus technology, and one important thing, technology is not to replace, it is to enhance us. So enhance yourself with the improvement of technology. And thank you very much to all our panel speakers, Parthasarathy, Hemant sir, Jignesh sir, and Ashish sir. Sir also for sharing your valuable time and join us here. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
First we have group. Thank you everyone.
So you can again keep on interacting with them over dinner, but first a group photo outside and then on the first floor for the dinner, please.